All the trimming and fitting is done on the battery tray. Got just about every clamp I own, a few Clecos, thin ground, weld through primer in the appropriate places. Okay, I've already gone in and welded from the back side those that I can. That makes the front side so much easier to handle when it comes to the finishing of the spot welds. Just needs a nice little bulge on the other side, and looks like it was supposed to be that way. I've also welded around the front, and this has everything welded up. Got the sides welded and ground down. Moving right along. I've got the big center section already fitted, so now I'm making the template for the upper portion of the firewall. This is the section that has the little half moons in it. This is kind of the tedious part, getting all that done. Getting the distance to the little half moons. And now setting the diameter. Turns out to be about 1 inch. With the template in hand, I'm screwing the oversized piece of metal to board, laying out marks from the template. This is all done so I can drill the little semicircles. The thing is, it is a 1 inch hole, but the part that's on the car is not half of the hole. So what I've came to the conclusion of doing is attaching the panel to this board, and then I use the compass and set it below the edge of the panel, and that gave me the circle, but only about 3/4 of a circle, and then I used half of that 3/4. And now it's trimmed to fit. This took quite a while. That's why I speeded it up, trying to keep the video down to a reasonable length. Use the die grinder, clean the holes up, over on my sander and square up the edges. Right at the end of the patch panel, it has to make a curve, so I'm forming it over this piece of rod, putting a nice little curve in it. It fit right up quite nicely. Now that I've tested it for fit, I'm laying out where to put the holes for the rosette welds. Then I'll pre-drill them. Put a couple of long sheet metal screws into the board to keep the panel from whipping around. Out to about 1/4 inch. Now fitting it in. Don't need near as many clamps. Probably taking too long trying to get it fit right where I want, but it took so long to make that little piece of sheet metal, I wanted it to fit just right. Along with the hood and the gloves, making sparks. It fit in there quite nicely. Then a little touch up on the center section. All the little short bursts of the welder is stitch welding. Now I'm welding up a couple holes that the previous owner had put in. Moving around, trying to keep things from generating too much heat in any one place. All the pieces are in. Still need lots of cleanup work. And of course a little body filler to smooth things out. Some judicious use of some seam sealer. Thing fits in. Got the ground nubbin put in. Some original owner holes filled. The top of the cowl panel in with its little half moons, and the battery hold down. Kind of glad this project is finished up.